suicide has been decriminalized in our country, and mental health, or rather suicide, is no longer considered a crime in our country. It is seen as a mental illness, just as any other physical illness that a person would have. But then, with that being said, and I would say standing ovation to the advocates who have been pushing the narrative to decriminalize suicide, because we at least have made a huge step in our country since somewhere around January or March. We we stopped posting that decriminalize suicide hashtag, and now we are taking the conversations beyond decriminalize suicide to how can we normalize suicide. And we are having a very interesting topic tonight on changing the narrative about suicide. And it is good that we are picking it from a place where our country, we are now no longer discriminating suicide, and we are normalizing it. And now we are putting in this narrative about changing the narrative on suicide. How can we speak differently about suicide? How can we engage the suicide survivors so that they do not feel as if they are not part of the community? Um, and with me today, I have a very important person in that area, or in that specialization, to speak about suicide, who is Dr. SERAH MUCHAI. She is a counseling psychologist. She is an educator, and she runs an organization called Hope and Live Organization. And Hope and Live Organization is an organization for the um, people living with disabilities. And even as we talk about inclusivity, as we drive these conversations about mental health, that is a very important important population that we do not need to overlook. But mostly in our communities, we overlook them. We will go to meetings without sign language interpreters. We will go to meetings that do not consider the people that are having issues to do with visualization and many other physical disabilities. And I am glad that I am hosting Dr. SERAH tonight, because she'll be able to speak about matters on mental health and even suicide. Even how can we engage the PWDs in such conversations, because mostly we will have these conversations and we do not engage them. And so that I do not speak a lot, I would like to invite our speaker tonight, Dr. SERAH. If you can hear me, you can unmute your microphone, introduce yourself, and take us through the topic in the best way that you know how to. Thank you. Welcome, Dr. SERAH.
Thank you. I trust you can hear me. Bogana Jacinta Wellness, are you able to hear me?
Oh, yeah, loud and
You
clear.
okay? Thank you so much. So, in the event you don't hear me, just tell me. I need to check on my internet, but I trust that we shall be able to communicate all the way. I'm so glad this evening that you have given me an opportunity even to attend this webinar, and not only to attend, but even to be the facilitator. Uh, Thank you so much for this invitation. I'm grateful to the Thika YMCA manager, Tito Kiprono. Thank you for also giving me the opportunity even to be in this forum. And fortunately enough, as I said last time, I've now become a member of Thika YMCA and not turning back. I'm glad also to be now a member of Y Mental Health. Is that what we call it at YMCA? It is really enjoyable. I'm feeling part and parcel of you. And even for me, not only just to be a member, but also now to be a person whom we can share with on this matter, on mental issues or mental health. It's really a great honor. Thank you so much, Morgan and Jacinta Wellness. I trust that even as we share, this is going to be an open forum where we are going to talk openly and talk on what is this that we are trying to change. It is, yes, it is this month is is a month where we are talking about suicide prevention and awareness. It has been set aside for this, and so we take advantage that our topic today is changing the narrative about suicide. I am happy that all of us, I don't know, I look at the names and I see majority of us must be Kenyans. And so even as we speak about suicide, changing the narrative on suicide, it's going to be more cascaded to the Kenyan uh, forum or Kenyan whatever in the Kenyan context. That's what I wanted to say. Within the Kenyan context is what you're going to talk. And I'm happy for the introduction that has been made by Jacinta, that indeed Kenya is now talking about suicide differently from the way it was being talked about some times back. And so, even as we share, it is a milestone that we can talk of. It's achieved, that now it's no longer being criminalized. It's something that we have accepted. And that is one way of changing the narratives that we have about suicide. So, allow me first to go and do the introduction on what is suicide. I know we basically know it, but just the way any other facilitator would do, we don't assume, we don't make assumptions, especially when you're meeting the forum for the first time. But thank you so much for joining this group. Those that have joined, I know as we have said we are recording, and so it is going to help us even reach out to many more in the event they will be hearing this message even later. So all what we are saying is we are at the point of where we are trying to speak positively about suicide. But let's look at what is suicide. Suicide is death caused by self-inflicted injury with the intent to die. So this is really an attempt. It's something that you want to say, I've given up. I want to get to the end of myself. You have an intention. So whether you're going to throw yourself into the river, whether you're going to say you're going to put maybe a jiko inside the house and you die slowly, whether you're going to put a rope around your neck, every of the injury that you're inflicting yourself with is the ultimate interest is to die. So suicide is death caused by self-inflicted injury with the intent to die. But we have another approach, philosophical or cultural view of what suicide is, and we say suicide is sometimes seen as a response to unbearable suffering, not necessarily a desire for death, but longing for relief. So that again, philosophically, it gives us a different kind of approach. It's when there is an intention to bring an end to unbearable suffering. For instance, maybe somebody has been sick for long and they feel they cannot move on. They can just stop taking the drugs. They can stop seeing doctors, visiting doctors, and they want just to get out of the world. Actually, suicide is a forced way of ending problems. That is where we speak it in quotes. It's a forced way where one wants to get out of the sufferings that they could be in. So whatever it be, we say suicide can be that kind of a response when you want to end unbearable suffering and not necessarily a desire for death or a longing for, or you are just longing for relief. That is what you're longing for. So we look through this message, we want to know why exactly do people commit suicide. And indeed, as we have said, it could be because of overwhelming emotional pain, distress, hopelessness, and suicide affects individuals across all ages, cultures, backgrounds, and its impact ripples through families, communities, and even societies. So when you think about suicide, we are saying it cuts across. I'm so happy because of how I've been introduced on I being a founder of Hope and Live. And this resonates very well with our topic today, suicide, where one would wish to die and end their life. But here again, I'm speaking of my organization promising hope so that you may live. To me, hope is the oxygen for one's survival. It is the oxygen for one's lifeline. It is what you require. So when we talk about having or experiencing emotional pain, distress, hopelessness, I come to say no. It's that should not really bring an end to a life that is well lived. You're so important as an individual. And this is the message we have for our community. This is a message we have for our family members that they are so important. This is a message we have for our neighbors. If we are to change the narrative, we have to tell them, no, there is healing. Healing is possible. These problems can come to an end. You can have another turnaround of your life. Distress will come to an end. Pain can end. It might be that you only need to live just a few more days and you shall have a different approach altogether with life. So when we say that suicide is a response to overwhelming emotion, pain, distress, and hopelessness, I come to say as part of changing the narrative, we can still promise our friends, our neighbors, our schoolmates, our college mates, our relatives, we can still tell them, no, there is hope, despite the challenges that they are going through. And you have said we cannot now speak discriminatively and we say that suicide affects a certain group of people. No, it cuts across all ages. It cuts across all cultures. You'll find it within the Kenyan context. You'll find it within the American context. You shall find it happening across all contents. It also happens with different backgrounds. Sometime back we'd feel like it's a poor that commits suicide, but now this is different. It cuts all backgrounds across all forms of backgrounds. Whether they are poor, whether they are learned, whether they are learned. Recently, we had a senior scholar committing suicide, and it was in the news. It was in the media. Everyone heard about it. It is so. It is. It's not about illiteracy. It's not about the education levels. It's not about how exposed you are or how not exposed you are. It is not about the family you come from. It's not about the community you come from or the society you come from. It's not even about religion. It's cutting across whether somebody is a staunch Christian, whether you are a staunch Muslim, it can still cut across. Recently, I think it's not even recently, yesterday I was in the media and I was talking about false accusation. And I said that about 72% of those people who go through false accusation, they always, or 72% will have, they will have suicidal ideation, either during the time they're going through false accusation or even after. So we see there are so many reasons why people think and plan on why they should end their life before time, just because of different reasons, just because of different circumstances. And to me, we are now giving a different story altogether. My prayer today, as we are saying, we are changing the narratives, is that we are also rewriting stories of people. We are going to rewrite stories of people who may have passed on because of having died of suicide, and their relatives are living, and maybe they feel guilty, they could have done things. Today we can still change and influence such people positively, and we tell them, no, you don't have to blame yourself forever. There is healing. There is a possible turnaround of your life, and you can change the approach. I trust I'm okay. You are hearing me well? Jacinta, in the event you don't hear me, kindly inform me. Are we okay?
Yes, we are. You're very clear.
Okay, thank you. So we are saying there are so many reasons why people can just end their lives prematurely. But we changing the narrative. Right now, I don't know whether I don't know how many we are, but we can choose to take the story around and write people's stories. Those who feel like the pain is too much, those who feel like they really need not to fight on, we can turn around their stories. What are some of the signs and symptoms of those who are ready to die by suicide. We have those who keep talking about why they should die, those who keep talking about feeling hopeless, those who withdraw from friends. You look at them, they want to walk alone, they withdraw from friends, they withdraw from families, they withdraw from activities. As recent as maybe 4 months ago, I was dealing with a case scenario of this one person who had locked himself in a room and was had now started writing in the social media that he's giving up and he's going to die by suicide. And somehow we had to understand, we had to validate his feelings, because he had come from a background where the main support system, people who are really supportive to him, who had really supported him for over the years, had passed away, they had passed on, and here he was, he didn't know where to start. Life was not working for him. He had tried many jobs, he had been sacked in different jobs and all that. So he had locked himself in a room. And so you realize that one of the symptoms that you may find with those that want to die by suicide is that they withdraw from friends, they withdraw from families, even they may refuse even to take part of any activity. You find they're not ready even to go to church, they're not ready to attend events that are being planned for their company. They just want to stay alone, they want to be on their own. The other thing is sudden mood changes. You find somebody has just changed their mood. And don't forget, some of these symptoms they could be coupled with other, maybe underlying conditions, mental health conditions. So you might assess and see, no, this mood could be extreme. It's not the way this person has been behaving even formerly. And sometimes it's due to extreme stress. So when you see somebody has gone maybe through some depression and looks like has recovered, and then all of a sudden you see them, they have kept off, they are calm. It's good to watch. That sudden mood of sudden mood changes is one of the things to look at. We also look at people who are giving away their possessions. Yeah, they are saying, and this has happened, we have had it happening oftenly, even within religious circles. You find somebody is just declaring, no, I am giving up everything, I want to die, and I don't want to live anymore, and I'm saying goodbye. We have had such cases. Then we have increased substance or use. We have those who are in drug, they're abusing drugs, and at the same time, they are living reckless lives. You see literally they don't have any future, they don't have hope for future. They are living as if there is nothing else they are waiting to get. They are living as if, the way you wake up in the morning and you say you are looking forward to see the better end of the day. Or maybe you are a young person and you're saying, I'm looking forward to seeing the day I'll marry. But you look at this person who doesn't have hope for anything. They won't talk of what they will be when they grow up. They won't talk of what they'll be when they get that job. They won't talk of what they'll do after they get their degree. They're just silent about it. A behavior that is questionable. They look like there is no life they are longing to live. That can also be another symptom. And then some of the people that we see around again who might be portraying signs of and symptoms of suicide are those who are now oversleeping. They have change in eating patterns and all that. Let's think about the statistics that we have about suicide. Globally, over 720,000 people die by suicide every year. Globally, over 720,000 people die by suicide every year. That's quite a big number. And we are saying that suicide is the third leading cause of death among the people between 15 and 29 years old worldwide. So you see, there are so many, and like our Kenyan population is really majority of the people are ranging between that age, 15 to 29 years. That is where our population is maybe more concentrated. So this is an urgent call for us. To us, it's a real public health crisis where we need to think of why is it happening. if this is where preference is mainly found between 15 and 29. That means we need to now totally, it's a real call for us to change the narrative when you talk about suicide, so that we can see on how do we salvage these young people who might feel they have that suicidal ideation. And we are saying that men are likely to feel like we are likely to have men being more vulnerable, like 5 times more than the women, especially in Kenya. So why? Maybe as we move on, we shall realize maybe it's because of how they have their social connections and their willingness maybe to speak out, even the challenges they are undergoing. At the same time, the things we are going through in the nation, men seem to be more vulnerable. So we need to ask ourselves what is happening. If in Kenya we are talking about 4 people who die by suicide every day, 4 people by who are dying by suicide every day. Just can you imagine what a loss we are having each day that we can lose about 4 people? This is such a big loss. Maybe it is people who have very high potential, even to give back to the community. It could be people who are very learned. A lot of investment has been done on them, and at the same time, we see their future being very bright. So losing 4 people per day, it cannot be considered a lesser percentage. This is something that it calls for us to say no to and decide what is this that we are going to do. And we are happy, as Jacinta has said, Kenya is doing so much in order to see that this can get reduced to the extent that we can have lesser people dying of suicide, if there must be any. So, but what is this that is causing this suicide in Kenya? In Kenya, we have a lot of socio-economic and mental health challenges that people are undergoing, especially this season. We have the disorders that are really cutting across, the mental health disorders, they are cutting across, and these are caused by many factors. Of course, those things that sometimes they are slowly developing in the individual's life. For instance, we have depression, we have anxiety, we are having a lot of substance use, and this is leading to inclination towards suicide ideation. So we need to ask ourselves, why is this happening? Issues of depression, anxiety, substance abuse. So we need to see how do we curb this before they get to the point of suicide. Life stressors are real. And not to mention, just the other day when we had the young people going to the streets, and they mentioned a few things which were real indicators that somehow they don't mind to end their lives. They don't end to bring it to an end. And these life stressors we have are financial hardship, relationship breakdowns, unemployment, and chronic illness. One of the things that I've said, if you look at financial hardship, it is cutting across all generations. But we need to get to the place of where we are able to unravel the issue of financial hardship. Yes, it is there, but are we able to maybe to come to the point of living to the extent of what we can manage? And many things are coming about on issues of financial hardship because maybe of the expectations we had. There are so many life expectations that our young people are having. And so in this matter, we need maybe to help each other. How do we maybe flatten it? How do we bring it to the point where men can understand that you can survive with the bare minimum that is available to you? But at the same time, not everyone is able to endure hardships. Different people behave differently. We are having issues of relationship breakdown. This is actually alarming. How we are having a spouse killing their spouse and even killing the children, killing their children, their own children. This was never happening before. It is now seems to be at an alarming rate that nearly every news we listen to every evening, especially within our news, we are hearing that there is this young man who killed the fiancée. And I feel that at the level we are in, we need to call it a spade a spade. We need to say, what is this that is happening if the relationship breakdowns can bring differences? Are people able to tolerate each other? Are we able also to accept the truth when you're not compatible with your colleague? Is it a must that you die? Is it a must you lose this other person's life? So these are things that we see. They are not just relationship breakdowns, which could be the cause. There could be other underlying factors. Unemployment is related to financial hardship, and such are the things. Even chronic illnesses are such as some of the things that you are calling them life stressors. I hope so far we are together. We also have social isolation and stigma. Today you find so many people wants to be I, me, and myself. They don't want to join others in doing activities. Some will tell you, no, I'm not a person of people, and you find themselves affirming to that, I'm reserved, I don't talk to many people, but eventually you find now this as social isolation becomes a challenge in the end, and at the end this person even feels like they are a social misfit in the society, just because you chose to say no, I'm very reserved, I'm a what, and all that, things that we have really felt, and we have justified on why you are on your own, on why you don't talk to many people. So we are seeing silence making many people feel judged also, and again live under fear because they don't know how the society will interpret them. And eventually we are getting it go to the extent of having suicidal ideation. We have some things like cultural barriers, and such are the things also they have caused people to suffer more, just because maybe some cultures believe differently on what it is to maybe to die of suicide. So with that, you find, and this one may have been said at national level, that we are decriminalizing suicide attempts, but at the societal level, maybe it is still a challenge even for people to accept whoever has ever attempted to commit suicide. So it is now our opportunity as mental health advocates that we can let people know, no, even if it has happened, even if somebody has attempted, you don't have to discriminate them. You don't have to isolate them. It was just an issue that one can overcome, and they can live a normal life. So that decriminalization has really been a real challenge amongst people when they feel like the society discriminates them once they have been known to have attempted suicide. And therefore, you find these people now again having a recurrence of still a desire to end their lives just because they felt the society was not embracing them. How are you this far? Are we doing well? Maybe there is a question, maybe there is something that you'd wish to know as I continue on, even as we continue to share on making suicide, and we're changing the narrative of suicide amongst us or even in the society. Anyone who may be having a question, a comment, I'll be more than happy to hear. Why do you think this has been happening amongst our young people between 15 and 29 years in Kenya? What could be the reason other than that which you have just said? Do you feel like, have you lost a close one recently? Have you lost a friend? Maybe it's good to hear as from you people. Let's know. Is there anyone whom you know really died of suicide? And please note, we are not talking of committing, we are talking of dying of suicide. So we need to change the narrative even on how we frame what for the purpose of being accommodative. So let me just hear from you. Anyone who may have maybe a narrative or something that may have happened to a friend, a relative, a neighbor, a schoolmate, and you even now you're still maybe mourning as we go through this month of mental. Yes, I see Gabriel is there. Gabriel, you are welcome to share briefly on your experience.
Thank you. Thanks so much. My name is Gabriel.
Yes.
I'm from Kilifi County, YMCA,
Mm-hmm.
and I love the discussion. And I would like to share what I've been going through here in Kilifi. Last month,
Mm-hmm.
there was an incident where a youth, just a young man,
Mm-hmm.
some few meters from the branch, who
Mm-hmm.
committed suicide. And it was very sad. hearing the story of his brother.
Mm-hmm.
And the story was a bit complicated because the brother was saying the guy didn't have any of the signs. The guy was good. Even that morning,
Mm-hmm.
that guy woke up and said hi to his mother, to his brothers, and he went back to his room. So after some time, they realized, hey, our brother is not coming out today as usual. So when
Mm-hmm.
they called him, he didn't respond. They broke the door and
Mm-hmm.
find the guy had hung himself on the. So it was sad, and even the mother was saying she didn't see any signs of depression from that person.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, this clicked my mind that sometimes we men mostly
Mm-hmm.
are affected due to some cultural norms and how we are brought up. We don't show. Sometimes we don't show what we are going through. No, ile tu kuuliza uko sawa, niko fit, I'll be alright. But
Mm-hmm.
deep down, you know the kind of shit that you are going through, and
Mm-hmm.
you have to explore yourself. The stress build up until you see now I
Mm-hmm.
can't handle this anymore. So for me, even family issues and culture are majorly contributing more, especially to men, because men currently have that talent. Yeah, thank you.
Wow, thank you, Gabriel. And we feel you, even what you encountered. Uh, I know as much as you had it, it also struck you somehow. The way the first thing that you hear, what about my relatives? What about my brother? You bring it close to yourself, and you're like, could also my relatives, could also be my friends, be going through the same? But I think Gabriel, you have put it right. That is true. Family and cultural barriers are some of the effects that are really making people not to speak out, and we are having an assumption. Like naturally, the greetings that we have as Africans is you don't expect somebody to tell you that I'm not well. Anytime somebody asks you, are you well? How are you? All of us, we know our response is, I am okay. Hardly do you hear somebody saying, I'm not okay. Hardly do you hear somebody saying, I'm not fine. And maybe these are some of the things we now need to bring out into the open and say, can you say when you're not fine? Is it okay to say, I'm not okay? Is it okay? How do you see it, Otieno? Do you think it's possible to let people speak openly and tell people, when I'm not okay, I'm not okay? If I come to you and tell you I'm not okay, how would you react? Onyango, Otieno.
Hello,
Hmm.
good evening.
Good evening.
I hope I'm audible.
Yes, you are.
Thank you for the question.
Mm.
I'd say that it's good to open up
Mm-hmm.
emotions, not to bundle up and be burdened.
Mm.
Like sharing is caring.
Mm-hmm.
If you share, if you have a problem or something you're going through,
Mm.
sharing might help solve it.
Mm-hmm.
And you might find that the solution is easier than what
Mm-hmm.
you even thought.
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm happy that Onyango has said yes. We should embrace the sharing, where we are able to sincerely speak of what we are going through, openly tell people, here I am, I'm not okay, I have one, two, three things, other than we are demonizing the feeling that I'm not okay, like as if it is not supposed to be in existence. But today we should come to the place of saying, it's okay to say I'm not okay. It is okay to say I'm not okay. And so, because of issues of time, allow me to go to the next thing and say, which narrative are we changing? If we have heard Gabriel's side of the story, then we need to ask ourselves, what is this that we need to change that was happening? One is to say that suicide is a shameful or selfish act. Many people have thought that suicide was something that is really a shameful thing. You cannot speak it publicly. So we need to get out of that and now say no. When it comes to suicide, it's not a moral failure. It is something that we should say, yes, it's existing, it is there. The other thing is that people who talk about suicide were seen as if they are seeking attention. Many times, anyone who would come and write a note, I'm going to commit suicide, people would uh, brand it as if they are seeking attention. So we should come out of this old narrative that in the event somebody writes a note, somebody texts a message and says, I'm going to die of suicide, you need to take it with weight. It is not just seeking attention, but it's also a mental health issue. Then we need to ask, we need to know that mental health struggles, they have been kept private for long. So we are now changing this narrative and we are saying, no, it's no longer anything private. It is affecting every one of us. It can affect you, it can affect a neighbor, it can affect a relative. Then it was also looked at as attempting suicide is a crime, and I think that one we have dealt with it previously. And then somehow it was known that it's only certain types of people who are affected. And then it was being said there's nothing one can do about it. I know within my community, people would say that once you see somebody trying to commit suicide, just know they'll still commit suicide. And we would close it at that. But we need to have new narrative and say, no, suicide is a public health issue. It's no longer, it's not a moral failure. It doesn't mean that you have failed. It is something that we know is now a public health crisis. And then we should know that people who talk about suicide are showing courage and they deserve support. That this person who is coming and outwardly saying, I want to commit suicide, please know they are courageous enough. These are people we need to say, yes, you have done it well, and we bless them and encourage them on how they can live on and move on. The other thing is mental health is everyone's concern. Let's know it's no longer what we are considering it private. Now it's cutting across. It is for everybody to say it's now a concern. You cannot just demonize it anymore. Then we can say that attempting suicide is a cry for help, not a criminal act. So no longer should we criminalize it and decide that this is not right. No, we should know it's a cry for help. Then we should know that suicide affects all people of all walks of life. And I think I said it earlier, that no one is immune. Anyone can get into that position. Then we say suicide is preventable and hope is real. So those are some of the things we need to understand, that even as we are changing the narrative, what is this we are changing? If Gabriel has just mentioned what happened just the other day, sorry, is it something that we can change? And I'm sure if we are given an opportunity, each one of us might be knowing somebody who has died of suicide recently, or even a year ago. So it is cutting across, and so it cannot be treated anymore as a private issue. It should be looked at as a concern for everyone, for those who are in leadership, even for those who are local citizens. It is just an issue that can. I remember just another day, I think it's the beginning of the year, a very committed Christian found his son hanging just outside the house. And even before she had noted, other people had already realized it, and they all came to see. And how, and no, it is not from a positive perspective. Of course, they want to see this son of a rich guy, a Christian, staunch Christian, and so it was really not a good a picture. And it was not a good image at all. But then when you see this happening within our local communities, when you see this happening, let us not imagine that it's a failure of anyone. No, it is a mental health concern. And that is the narrative we are trying to change. So as we change this narrative, I'm thinking we need to replace it more with hope. We need to replace it to the point of, how do we do it? We say suicide is not a crime, it's a crisis. And it deserves compassion, it deserves hope, it deserves recovery. So these are things we need to know and say. We need safe space where we can speak openly about suicide. Safe space. And I'm happy with the YMCA Dika. We have decided we shall speak on it openly. And we need to say we can get out of silence and not now stigmatize the issue of of suicide, we can now talk of how do we prevent it. That is the way to change the story. That this topic is so important that our intention is now to say suicide is preventable. Even though we are going through these hardships, even if we are going through these mental health issues, it is preventable. And so we need to speak about it with empathy and openness. We need to speak about it with empathy and openness. How we should be validating people's feeling. That if this person comes to you and tells you, I feel like committing suicide, just try to listen to them. Give them a hearing. Understand them. If this colleague comes to you and tells you, I feel like I need not to live anymore, the message is tell them it is possible to have hope, it is possible to recover, and you can walk with them through the journey. So to me, three things are very important. We need to give hope, we need to speak about recovery, and we need to speak about how we can support those people that feel that life should come to an end, even as they are living. So we need to ask ourselves, what do? We need to speak more loudly about hope. And I've said, let's create spaces where people feel safe to speak. Let's create space. Have an open discussion, just the way you talk about the best food at home, what you love most. Just speak openly about suicide. Let us make it a normal conversation in a way that everybody feels it's a normal message. That I woke up today and I was wondering, why should I live again? And then now somebody can pick it up and tell you, wow, it is like this and this. I feel you. It is true. You may be lacking money for this and the other. But what about, you try to tell them what are possible solutions despite their feeling that they can die of suicide. The other thing is we can do community engagement. Community engagement is very important. Have dialogues in churches, have dialogues in schools. Let us talk openly in workshops. Let us organize as many workshops as we have today. I don't mind even if we are to have another one next week. Let's collaborate with the organization and talk about what it means to what it means to live again. We should do social media advocacy. Keep posting messages on how to prevent suicide. Keep posting messages on how to promote mental health issues. Mental health resources, and then encourage people to check on their loved ones. Don't stay so long before you check on your sister. Don't take so long before you check on your cousin. Don't take so long before you check on your teacher. It's very, very important. Then we need to bring storytelling oftenly. Let's talk about people who have survived, people who had attempted and are now making it. If you have ever had a feeling of the kind, speak it openly. That is what you're calling storytelling, sharing, giving positive outcomes, that despite having been in this, you are able to overcome. You went through therapy. You are helped by a therapist. You are helped by a friend. And the feeling like you want to die of suicide, they eventually disappeared. This is what we want to hear. Good reports, positive reports of people who have recovered, of people who felt supported because they spoke out or they openly gave out their stories. Then we need to bring out maybe a lot of education content every time. Even you who is a teacher, you whatever you're doing, ensure we bring in the issues of suicide and how preventable it is. This will help to reduce the stigma that surrounds the word suicide. It shall surely be a solution. So to me, I feel that we need to know that hope is very important, such that we are telling people why is it important to live tomorrow, to see tomorrow. Why is it that it's important to overcome even your darkest moment, and show them that possibility of healing. Give them that opportunity to say, yes, it's possible even to overcome this challenge. It's possible for me to be jobless for this number of years, but I know finally I will come to get a job. I think I shared with you when I came. I don't know whether I did a shared openly. And my life experience on being jobless, I stayed for 14 years after campus, after my first degree, without a job. 14 good years being a housewife, trying to see what I can do. And I am so grateful. So as I speak to you, even you who might be feeling you're jobless and you are wondering where to, I want to say one day something will happen and it will erase all the tears you have cried just because of maybe joblessness. Just have hope. Let's spread the message of hope to those who might be feeling things are, life is very hard on them. Give that hope that starts by showing up. When you see this person who is feeling down, may you be present for them. Let's create good friendship, not just fake friendship. Let's be genuine friends. That such that even that person who is suffering, even though they start speaking like life is becoming unbearable, you can still remain close to them. You can still share the little that you have. You can still be there to listen to their experiences. The other thing is we make mental health to be part of our health everywhere you go, just the same way we have pressure being in a pinwa, the way we feel that temperature is taken, let us make mental health be part of our health. To me, I've tried to bring in messages of mental health in all the talks that I go today, even in churches, even in the sermons I'm delivering. I'm very careful to ask somebody, do you have a reason on why you woke up today? What motivated you? Because life has started now turning into the place of even some people don't feel like waking up. They don't have any motivation. Let's bring it. Let us ensure we encourage these messages on health, of mental health everywhere we go. Then let's talk about what compassion can do. Compassion saves, but stigma kills. So we must speak openly and act boldly to break the silence around suicide. Then let's say that change is possible. I'm seeing that as we move on with life, let us always tell some people there is a season that everyone goes through. Sometimes it's a season of dryness, but somehow you are eventually going to get to a place where there are opportunities and excess opportunities for that matter. Then let you know as a mental health advocate, your health matters. Don't be silent anymore. Whatever you are doing, in whichever capacity, let us give hope to whoever is on our, or who comes, to whoever comes on our way. Just find a reason to encourage somebody. Find a reason to smile. Find a reason to speak peace to somebody who might be looking down. And so let's see the reason for why we are where we are. Look around and see what is this that I can do differently and make hope be known to an individual who might be feeling like they are not worth, a person who is feeling like they are not important, a person who is feeling like they should not live anymore. So I'm so glad that today we have shared about changing the narrative on suicide, and it's my prayer and my hope, though the time may not allow, I would have wished to have more discussion in a place, in a way that every one of us will feel, yes, we should be good ambassadors of changing the narrative on what is suicide and how it can be prevented. Every one of us is a carrier of a message of hope. And so to me, I'm so glad, I'm so beautiful, I'm so happy that today I've spoken to at least more than 10 people and I've told them there is hope even in the season we are in. Despite the hardships you're going through, despite the challenges we are going through, there is something that we can do differently and we can offer hope, not necessarily because you have a lot of money, not necessarily because you come from a rich background, not because you are running, but because your bucket is full of hope. Your bucket is full of something that you can offer to an individual who might be feeling like giving up. Suicide is preventable. Thank you so much. I am happy that I've got this opportunity, and may God bless you so much. Jacinta, back to you. Thank you.
Oh wow! Thank you so much, Dr. Sarah. Can we applaud Dr. Sarah for such a profound presentation and teaching? Thank you for cooperating.
Thank you.
That was very informative, Dr. Sarah. Asante sana. We will be looking forward to hosting you again and again and again. And now that you are in our family, we will make good use of you being part of our family. Asanteni sana members for taking your time to join this webinar. Please be our ambassadors, spread the message. When you see our posters, please share on your status with the link so that we can get as many people as possible to join the webinars, so that we make our work easier in advocacy. When you bring 5 people or 3 people, don't even purpose to bring so many people, just purpose to bring 3 people in every webinar that we have. If today we were 18 and all of us bring 3 people, imagine the impact we are going to make in the community and in the society. So yes, this is why Mental Club Vika YMCA branch, and we are very grateful and honored to have hosted you this evening for our webinar on changing the narrative on suicide. We welcome you to come and be part of us as YMCA Vika branch. We are a loving family. You cannot get bored to be part of us. We also would like to encourage you to go to our social media pages, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. We have got some good content over there. You can listen. You can also come be part of us. If you're looking for a place to vent, if you're looking for a place to just have a some alone time, silent place, YMCA Vika is your home. Please do not hesitate to come. Our gates are wide open to accommodate all of us. Yes, and with that said and done, I welcome Tito if he has something to say, so that he can say something. And then we will have our very own moderator for this session, Karin Kioti, say hi to us, and we will conclude and see you next week on Thursday. Please purpose to bring a friend or two. Next week on Thursday, we will have another webinar on a different topic on suicide, still changing the narrative on suicide. Tito, if you can hear me, please proceed.
Thank you so much, Jacinta, and the entire team of the Wine Mental Health Club. This is coming in handy. I don't want to preempt so much on what the speaker has spoken about today. I believe after this, we are all carriers of hope. Everybody's a victim, and I think the narrative has always been suicide. Sometimes is an hereditary. But when you see it in another way, it's a mental health issue, is a crisis, and we need to talk about it and not to stigmatize it as the way it is. So thank you so much for bringing this topic on board, as even we celebrate this World Suicide Prevention Month. We welcome you. Even in our YMCA, you can just bring any topic and we shall be ready to talk about it. And through this, I think we shall be creating awareness in all aspects of all angles of a young person, in terms of the need, in terms of bringing networks and everything else that come on board. Thank you so much, Y Mental Health team. And also thank you so much, Dr. SERAH, for sharing and also accepting to be part of this Y Mental Club. We believe we shall be having more of this, even on a physical perspective. And we shall be happy to you be part of this team. Asanteni sana.